Welcome to NUSKA.
Hello. It is me, the voice you probably did not expect to hear again after a year's hiatus. It is me, EB. I'm back. You probably knew me from the Practical Growth podcast, which is sadly no more. This is now NUSKA, which is what I consider to be the kind of evolutionary next step in practical growth. With practical growth, we focus all on our trauma, on everything that was broken, on everything that was wrong, and how to fix it. And this is what comes after. This is trying to find some joy, trying to find some happiness, trying to reconnect with that, what I believe is the kind of underlying theme of humanity. That is what NUSKA is. And I'm very, very excited because I'm not just doing this alone. I also have a wonderful co-host with me this time, Miss Connie Facer.
Hi, everyone. I am joining from the literal opposite side of the world to EB.
Yeah.
So this is literal night and day experience for both of us.
It is.
I am in the evening. She's in the morning.
Yeah, literally the other side of the earth. I don't know how this happens. All of my friends are on opposite sides of the earth. It feels like it's been done on purpose, quite honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If we were all in the same place, can you imagine the
total and absolute destruction? Yeah. They're worried about witch covens on Etsy. They have no freaking idea. There was really no one better, I think, to kind of do this with. And we're really just going to be, to put it indelicately, kind of chat shit about all things that interest us.
Professional shit talkers
professional shit talkers. Yeah. And I think that that's all a part of what I want this kind of NUSKA podcast and the spaces that we're building around it to be. It's like just a positive, like, respite. That doesn't mean everything we talk about is going to be positive, but it's just somewhere where we can just like come and be human and laugh or be interested or be curious and all the things that seem to not exist in the mainstream kind of world anymore. I don't know if you see it differently.
Learning something new, and while you're doing mundane tasks around the house, like it's always a good time to like broaden the way your brain like thinks about things and how you explore new concepts or new things that are happening around the world or things that have happened in the past that could bring like a whole new perspective to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So just going from there, the current state of the world, I thought the best way to kind of start this and set the tone for what the podcast is kind of going to be is talk about happiness, talk about art and happiness and the concept of human happiness and what that looks like, because I think our ideas of happiness are kind of becoming homogenized, right? Especially like for me, coming from America, I see so many Americans, but it's like this homogenous idea of happiness. It's you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, and then that's kind of it, right? It's like the picket fence idea, at least in the time that I was growing up. It was like get a good job, get the picket fence,
definitely
have the family.
But any sort of colonized area of the world, especially is it's designed to, this is what you should do and this should make you happy, and if it doesn't, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong, you are weird, you are outside of that. And there is literally thousands of years of human history to prove that human happiness is anything but like one size fits all, and we create our own happiness as well, which is something we're especially going to have to do in the current climate, in the current time period, but we've been doing that forever. Humans have been literally designing their own happiness forever in so many different ways, consciously, intentionally, unintentionally. So I think that's a great place to start. I think that that's the great thing to kind of focus on.
Definitely. It's definitely hard to conceptualize what happiness could be for any one person. So to be able to offer up something that helps people go, oh, that actually would work for me. Like, I think that's a really positive way to start.
Yeah. Well, the thing that kind of gave me the idea is when I was like digging up what we were going to talk about, right? Because it's like happiness, Jesus. Like, where do we even kind of pinpoint that? But what triggered it was this: they just had the Helsinki Design Week. And there is a curator and artist, Annina Koivu. I'm probably going to get that completely wrong because I don't speak Finnish.
I didn't even try to learn to pronounce it, to be fair. I looked at it and I was like, no, my mouth will not make that sound.
I think it's Annina Koivu. I'm sure I'll get crucified by the Swifties who hate listen to this. But she just curated an exhibit called Designing Happiness. And it's the coolest thing that, like, I was looking through the pictures of it. Which we'll share on Patreon, but it's like this mix of nostalgia and color and textures, and every room also explored different themes. So it wasn't just like, oh, what makes you materially happy? This bright pink chair. There was a room on health, human health, and there was medications in there, and talks about like, well, what about health and where it meets the crossroads of community? And I just thought, I think people forget that, right? Like, we're in this world that kind of bombards you with so much information, with so many ideologies and these like emotional kind of clickbait reactionary arguments all the time. And I think people forget to kind of look at their happiness on different levels and consider the fact that like the way they intertwine with each other, like it's not just, are you and your family healthy? Is your neighbor healthy as well? Because if they're unhealthy, then that spirals into maybe they lose their job, they don't have money, their kids maybe have to resort to desperate behaviors, or, you know, it spins out and it's all connected.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about when I was sort of looking into it was the idea about how we can create material objects or like things within our spaces that can sort of help us bring joy in general, to help lift spirit as well, so that we can at least find that segue into existing more in a joyful space, which I thought was quite interesting. There was the whole section of, I think it was like the Nirvana smiley face that was used.
I'm looking at that one right now.
I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really cool to see like how much that specific smiley face has been used across so many different like formats.
I didn't even realize.
People have something to register that joy as well, like how much impact like that whole band and that smiley face had within like the entirety of whoever really heard.
I think it was interesting as well to see the exhibit. Of course, it's in Finland, right? Which is like for the last 8 years been ranked the number one place on earth for happy people. And I mean, I think there's some misogyny issues and some sexism issues that they still kind of experience there. But I mean, they have some of the highest literacy in the world. They have some of the best healthcare in the world. Everyone gets to go to school for free. The government is a lot more equitable. So to me, this was also
an equitable government. Damn.
Yeah. Like, look at these. They get to like sit and consider like, what is happiness? What does true happiness look like? And meanwhile, Americans are like, should I get a passport and run for my life? Like, what do I do right now? You know? Very stark contrast, but that's what I think is so necessary about it, because it does, there was a lot of talk about the intention of happiness in here, which is I think kind of the point, and kind of like what we're both kind of hitting on essentially for this episode, is that you have to kind of figure out what shape your happiness takes, and then make accommodations essentially for your own happiness, like forcefully and intentionally.
No one's happiness is going to look the same. And when you do find something that truly sparks that joy, and actually, you know, pushing past that moment of like, do I do this or do I not? Do I lean into it? Is this something that I want to push for? And like just taking that moment to go, yes, like I'm going to put the time and effort into my happiness so that I can obviously be able to offer it up for other people as well.
We'll be right back after this quick break.
Hey, quick question for you. Are you someone who wants to be fit, healthy, and happy? And what if I told you you could get your dream body by simply just listening to a podcast? I'm Josh.
And I'm KG, and we're the hosts of the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast.
Listen, we get it. Fitness isn't easy. Carbs, no carbs.
Just stop, okay? It doesn't have to be that complicated. And that's why we made this podcast. We get straight to the facts so you can become your best you.
So the way to check us out is click the link in the show notes, or search Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast on any of the major podcast platforms. We'll see you soon.
I loved this quote from Anina. I'm going to get it wrong. Happiness is both deeply personal and undeniably collective. It cannot exist or be truly experienced without its opposite, sorrow, pain, or discomfort, which pretty poignant.
I mean, that
for
makes
moment.
sense, right? Like, there are days where, like, I'll be stressed with my kids and I'll feel like the world is like falling apart around me. And then my kid will do something adorable, and immediately my brain is like, oh, this is why I do it. Like, this is why the crazy is happening.
It makes it more worthwhile. It makes it like, it makes it more special. It makes it more
polarizing feeling. There's no, you wouldn't feel the joy. You wouldn't feel that big lift into the joy if you didn't have that polarization, I don't think. Yeah.
I have a theory, and I could be totally wrong, but I think that some of these people who are currently in positions of power, who've come from like long lines of established wealth, I think part of the reason we see such psychopathic behavior, quite frankly, you can't really label it as anything else, is because they kind of have a lack of suffering. Like, I'm sure they, there's misery in being raised by nannies or whatever, right? I'm sure. But I think not having that general struggle to kind of have that comparison is what makes them psychopaths.
There's a consensus, I think, in a lot of, like, especially here in Aotearoa, like, you can tell who was raised without like any sort of like issues, and they like there's like they've never wanted for nothing, so they don't really see how like struggle can produce growth. Just like when you put a seed in the ground and it goes into darkness, and you feed it cold water and it finally like sprouts out and feels the warmth of the sun. Without that darkness, it's not going to sprout. And I think, as much as we don't want any kind of poverty or any kind of stress or struggle for anyone in the world, without certain aspects of that struggle, we wouldn't be able to fully experience the true joy and like the growth that needs to happen for human brains in general. That's why, like you say, you would see like lots of these like rich people that have never struggled in their lives essentially turn around and like not realize how much struggle they create for other people.
They're just detached from it. No concept of it
or understanding of like how their inability to feel that has like detached them from being able to experience actual joy. And so when they seek out joy, it's essentially this vapid experience that they would probably, from like an ADHD perspective, be dopamine seeking so much that they would end up like say completely narcissistic sociopath.
That makes sense. When you see, can't remember what the kid's name was, but there was some like rich kid in Texas a few years ago, or maybe it might even be like a decade ago. But that's what he basically had multiple drunk driving and had wrecked and killed a bunch of people. And he just didn't care. He had no remorse about it because he had no concept of it. And it was a part of this escalating behavior of him seeking out some kind of spark or some kind of feeling of something that was just completely numb.
Oh my God. You know what just came to my mind? That one scene in Fight Club where like he has to tell everyone the name of the person on the table or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And they all start chanting the guy's name. And it's like, because they have no concept that he's a human that's died.
Yeah. It's very that. It's very that. It's it's very, 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 very that. Which is just a great segue into the ancient Greeks, which I'm obsessed with. And when I was thinking of up this episode and like, how do I want to talk about happiness? I went straight to the ancient Greeks. It was literally like the second thing that I started Googling, because I'm currently on this big Alexander the Great and Athenians and all this other kind of stuff. But of course, as usual, the Greeks, thousands and thousands of years before we even like crawled out of the bogs and started wiping our butts, the Greeks were philosophizing what actually made happiness. And they had 5 different kind of concepts of it, which I thought was really, really cool. There was, ironically, Socrates, who thought you could only be happy if you had nothing. So you had to be like destitute poor, absolutely nothing. So you had nothing to lose, essentially. And
but that's where you get those clean girls who like have nothing in their house and it's all like beige.
Ugh, that freaks me out. Kim Kardashian's house creeps me out.
Can't handle. No, there's not enough things. Like
it's creepier than a museum at night. Who has nothing in their house and no color? Like she was gifted a Van Gogh painting by one of the criminals that she's friends with. So where is it? You know, it was like a Monet or a Van Gogh or a Manet. It was like a £1 million painting, like $1 million painting that she was gifted. Where is it? Where's the painting?
Terrifying.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
So Socrates thought you just had to have nothing. You had to be dirt poor, destitute. Like, was it Diogenes who lived in a
Was
wine
he
barrel?
happy?
Huh?
Was he actually happy though?
Well, no, because Socrates was rich. Socrates was wealthy. He was like he was in the, I mean, I think he ended up being executed at the end, or he had to kill himself. Something dramatic at the end.
So he was the Nepo baby that's like, I will tell you the perfect way to live.
Yeah,
But
because
also, I don't have to worry about those things.
Yeah, he was
I'm
rich. He was like hanging out with all the rich people in nice robes, like just standing all day arguing with people in the forum. And then
oh my God.
I think it was
Doesn't have to worry
Aristotle.
where his next meal is coming from, but tells everyone you should stay worried about your next meal.
100%.
Wow.
So I kind of discard that one. Like, I appreciate the idea and I totally understand, because I also was reading.
I understand the whole like be happy with what you have so that you can appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should have nothing.
No, but he was also writing in a time when a guy would just stroll into the city, burn it down, destroy everything, and kill everybody. So maybe that was kind of shaping his idea.
Guys.
Yeah. But I kind of discount that because, like I said, he wasn't even living that way. Diogenes, who's not listed in this, Diogenes was the first kind of cynic. He developed cynicism, and he literally just lived in a loincloth in a giant wine barrel on the edge of town and refused to take part in society. And he was like, it is better to live as a dog than to live the way you guys live with all your fake bullshit. And Alexander the Great actually went and found him. And Alexander the Great said, if I were not Alexander, I would be Diogenes, because he respected him. Like, all
I can think about was how big was the wine barrel though? Like, was it like, could he have his own
I think as well? But
that's
what they said, he was living in a wine barrel.
Beard? Like, is it a big, huge one of those like massive ones that you see like with the, like the
I wonder if it was like a giant
ones?
amphora, maybe because they used a lot of like giant clay pots. So maybe it was like an upturned kind of clay pot that he just took shelter in or something. But yeah, it was a wine barrel is what the translation has been passed down through the ages. But yeah, he just lived feral and refused to take part in society, and people would just come and be like, what do you think about it? He would have hated Taylor Swift. Diogenes would have hated Taylor Swift, and I love that for
people
her.
That don't hate Taylor Swift, I could never.
Red flag. Immediate red flag. Aristotle, I think he was a bit more honest about it, and I think Aristotle was one of Alexander the Great's tutors. I believe if it wasn't him, it was like one. It was I believe it was Aristotle. But anyway, his idea was that you had to be rich to be happy. But he said that being rich wasn't just money. It meant that you had to have good people around you, and you had to do good stuff and have good experiences throughout your life.
So his like idea was that like richness doesn't come just from money. It comes from like how you like are perceived as a person and how you perceive other people and how you interact and what you bring to the table. Fuck, I hate that saying. I'm so sorry.
He created by root or by crook or whatever the saying is, he created Alexander the Great. So it's 50-50 for me on Aristotle and anything he says. I'm a Diogenes girl. I'm going to die on the Diogenes hill. I always get this name wrong because there used to be a website, Epicurus, which did food, but Epicurus is how I think you pronounce this. But his
kind of like Icarus.
Yeah. His idea was a little bit closer to probably what I kind of subscribe to, and his idea was that to be happy, you have to remove all like annoyances from your life. So you get rid of bad people. You don't do things that you don't want to do. You don't like irritate yourself. You remove yourself from as much suffering.
So he was like the Greek version of an autistic that would accommodate themselves.
Yeah. Pleasure is in the absence of suffering is what he was accredited as saying. So if you want to be happy, get rid of as much suffering in your life, including people, things, places, experiences, whatever it is, which that's kind of how I live my life now.
when I was researching like different people in history for this, I read about this one dude who I'm probably gonna get it wrong. I'm pretty sure it was a Japanese fella, like way back, rich as, basically literally walled himself off in his study, only leaving like a small gap in it so that his servants could put plates through of food for him. And for like 2 solid years, this dude was just held up in there in the pursuit of knowledge. And like that was how he was happy. And he was just chilling in there, like learning all the time. Like that was what he did. I know, right? Lock me
I want to
away.
be bricked up in a room with a food hole. So yes. Please.
Yeah. No, it sounded, and it was because like I was trying to find people that were like in different aspects of these like Greek like ideals, right? And his was in the same pursuit of that guy, where it was like removing every external thing that would like sort of distract you from what would make you happy and like pursue that happiness that way. And dude walled himself up in his study for like 2 years.
I used to dream, man, like as a kid. Well, I say as a kid, it was like as a teenager and in college, like I wanted to go and live in a monastery for a short period of time. I didn't want to full-time become a nun, but that idea of just being able to be like, just like peel off your old life and just go and live cloistered away.
I used to love watching like the Buddhists. Like when I lived down in the south, they used to always walk around the streets and stuff, singing their little songs and stuff. And I always thought, man, it'd be cool to not have to think about what I have to wear each day.
What do you have to do? Nothing.
Yeah, just sing some songs, learn about things, like be in nature, grow gardens, food.
Yeah. Clean. Yeah.
So good. Not have to think.
So tempting.
Great. Because your brain work too much. That's too much brain work.
Too much brain. Border collie need go sleep. That's it. Border collie need go lay down for a year or 2 or 3. 100%. There was a guy on 90 Day Fiance who went through. It was actually really endearing and cute, but he went through and got his his wife was from Thailand, I think is where she was from, or maybe it's Indonesia. It was Indonesia or Thailand, but she was from a little teeny tiny village, and there was a temple there, and he went and became a monk to basically like bring honor to her family who had all this bad luck in past years and stuff. And he had to go and live away from her for 3 days and do the whole thing, wear the robes and follow the monks around in the street and get food and all that kind of stuff. It was adorable. And it looked nice. It looked real nice.
Like, dedication, like, and I think that's the whole thing, right? Like, it's that being able to be dedicated to something that doesn't mean you have to overexert energy and like into excess. Like, so for us, that would be a joyful thing, not having to overexert ourselves.
Anyways, happiness. The Stoics, also Zeno of Citium, who was the kind of the leader of the Stoics, basically said that happiness is to accept suffering. All life is suffering. You're never going to get away from it. So if you want to be happy, just basically put your head down and take it and learn to be at peace with the bad things that happen in your life.
I mean, it depends on what situation you're already in. If you're already in like an abusive situation, this is not the advice you need. No. But like I have a high support needs child, and there are times where I'm like, I just have to accept that this is my reality right now. I'm struggling, and that is okay. And this will pass, And I think 100%. It's probably not more the whole like accept the suffering. It's accept that the suffering will pass would probably be the better way to put it, because like at the end of the day, it's that whole like from the art exhibition, right? Like it's that whole like that polarizing, whether it's like the
contrast is what makes the happiness contrast. Better. Yeah, I get that. I think it's just because I've been reading too much Alexander the Great, so I'm like, oh, he was probably writing this with an army, knocking at the door of the city that he knew was about to burn everything down and sell them into slavery. So, he better just accept it because it's happening. There's nothing to do about it.
Speaking of armies, though, there was this one dude. He claimed to become the emperor of the United States. He was actually originally from South Africa. And after about 9 years in America, after being like really prolific and like doing really well through the gold rush and like really good with rice, like trade and stuff like that. He had one bad deal, a bunch of lawsuits, plummeted into complete and utter debt, like basically on the street. Decided that he would write a decree that he was the emperor of the United States and protector of Mexico. And this was in San Francisco, California. So like,
it's the most American thing ever.
Literally everyone was like, cool, like badass, that's great, cool. And they accepted him completely, including the fact that he like wrote his own monetary notes and like people would sell those as souvenirs to make back the money basically. So they still accepted it as his own form of currency.
He created his own economy.
Well, it got even more so that like a new police officer joined the force, seen him, went to like arrested him and put him in an insane asylum. And the police chief was like, no, you've messed up, dude. Like we have to go get him out, and made a formal apology to him. This guy like continually made decrees to the like newspapers and stuff like that. And they would boldface just put them in the newspaper like they were legit, like that was the new decree. But like some of the things that he like was asking for were like actually good things. Yeah. There's like a bridge that like connects San Francisco to, I might get this wrong because I'm not from America, but like Oakland or something. There's like a specific bridge.
I've never been to San Francisco.
But essentially like that bridge and like the thing that connects those two areas.
It's not the Golden Gate Bridge.
I don't know, honestly.
Is it the Golden Gate Bridge?
I don't think it
Surely
is.
He didn't decree the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, he decreed that like a bridge to be built to connect those two areas, and people thought he was freaking insane. But to this day, that bridge is actually a thing now, and like it's one of the most important like routes for people to like use and stuff like that. So
I bet it's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Just look up the Emperor of the United States, San Francisco, and it should pop up with him. Yeah.
Holy shit! It's the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge.
Badass.
Norton famously issued decrees, including the proposal for a bridge across the San Francisco Bay, which predated both the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge that now connects Oakland to San Francisco. His vision for a bridge was considered a joke at the time, but became a reality with the construction of the Oakland Bay Bridge decades later.
Yeah,
so the Oakland Bay Bridge and then the Golden Gate. That's crazy. The life and like, legend of Emperor Norton.
No, but for real, even the U.S. Army gave him like a full-blown, like gilded.
Wow,
gold
he's got like a government website.
Yeah.
To honor the life and advance the legacy of Joshua Abraham Norton.
First.
This is American. This is what America is. I'm emperor now. So
I win.
This is mine.
I do the winning.
All of this is mine. Wow, Emperor Norton. If anybody wants to go and look that up, I'd never heard of him. No one ever. I think there's probably a reason a lot of Americans don't hear about him, because especially in today's current militia climate,
it was in the pursuit of like this weird and wonderful happiness. Like it created so much community. Like everyone in San Francisco knew who he was, smiled at him on the street. They all like, it was not so much like a running joke, but it was almost like this like idea that everyone was like, oh yeah, that's that dude. We do this because he's like this. And you know, it's like when you have like a local like eccentric in your town that everyone just knows what they're like. You know, they know what they're. Yeah.
Prince Mongo.
What's that?
Prince Mongo was this. He's a Memphis local that lived in this big, weird, spooky castle house, and he was So he said that he was abducted by aliens, and he was an alien that was sent here to help us get up to the mothership that was coming in like 2012, or he always had like a different date that he would talk about. He dressed in this weird, like kind of steampunk kind of alien. He wore like big alien goggles, but total weirdo. And you knew where he was, and everybody loved him, allowed him to call himself Prince Mongo. And he said he was like alien royalty, and everybody's like, yep, definitely, for sure. For sure.
I mean, at least he didn't create a cult and go Heaven's Gate. You know,
he didn't want to do any of that. He didn't want to do any of that. He just wanted
amazing.
He just wanted you all to wake up. It's like his whole thing. He didn't want to. he didn't want to do anything but make his work and hoard and like do his weird, crazy art in Florida because he also had a house in Florida he got in trouble.
Why did I'm like, where's this guy? I was thinking, where's this guy from? Of course it's Florida.
Yeah. He also had a house in Florida, so Memphis and Florida. So if you ever wondered why I'm a weirdo, it's because I'm also a combination of Memphis and Florida, unfortunately, which is a very unique combination that makes you mentally unstable. Yeah, Emperor Norton, that's crazy. They're going to name a tunnel after him, apparently.
Oh, cool. So his memory lives on.
Yerba Buena Tunnel of San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge for the emperor who knew how to connect. Right. So the last kind of idea for the Greeks about happiness is actually one of my favorites. And I've liked this since I found out about it in high school. And I think it's pretty relevant. I'm a big fan. I probably would have ended up being in the cult of Dionysus if this was ancient Greece. But the kind of fifth and final concept is hedonism. That hedonism, the idea that if you want to be, I love hedonism. I love the idea of, because I know that there's a certain image with hedonism, and that hedonism, which is the idea that if you want to have a happy life, you should pursue a pleasurable life. You should only do things that bring you pleasure, or you should, prioritize things that bring you pleasure. You should do what makes you feel good. And a lot of people, when you say hedonism, they think it's just like a big orgy with grapes and like Xerxes slaves fanning naked women with feathers, like giant feathers and stuff. But it's really not. It's just the idea that like whatever individually brings you pleasure is what you should do if you want to be happy in life, whether that's just sitting in a room and studying books and being bricked up behind a wall forever. That could be considered hedonism if that's what brings you ultimate pleasure, or if it's traveling around the world, or like whatever it is. And I love that concept. I think that's probably the most valid one that we have.
Right. So essentially everyone's idea of hedonism is the Christian idea of Satanism.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
the horned god with
because
the grapes.
Essentially, yeah, because essentially hedonism is actually just the pursuit of genuine happiness within like what gives you pleasure. It's not like it's not gratification or like sexual pleasure specifically. It's literal, just like, oh, you like painting? Go paint for 4 hours.
Exactly.
Oh, you like sewing or crocheting or whatever, gardening? Like, go do that for a day then. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I think that's the key. And even when I was coaching, I would get people that would just kind of just look at me and be like, well, I'm not happy. I've done the therapy and I'm on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication and everything else, and I'm still not happy. I'm like, well, what do you like to do? And they would just look at you blank. I'm like, well, what do you enjoy? Like when you were a kid, when you were like, yes, you were like so excited. What was that over? Like what things get you super stoked? Like it's Christmas morning and you're 8 years old.
At the clients, I'm honestly laughing at myself because like I've gone through that same phase of going,
I think we all have. Yeah.
What do I want to do with my time? Like what actually brings me joy? Like I've never been in the position to be able to do that. Yeah. And now I love gardening, and it's so weird. I feel like such an old person. I love gardening. I've started like making beaded spiders, like embroidery and stuff like that. Like
they look so
cool. I
buy
practical household things, and I get an extreme amount of joy. I got myself a wet dry vac. I am obsessed.
I love those. I love those. Oh, I've got one on my TikTok shop list.
So worth it. So worth it.
Are they worth it?
I haven't used the wet side of it yet, but my one has a blower function, and it can like suck up like bark chip size level things as well. God. So like, yeah, and like I can get right into the crevices in my car and things like that. So like I use it to mainly do like my car and like blow off my driveway.
Oh my God, Dan would love that.
Yeah,
he would love that for his car.
100%. Cannot recommend enough, but like that's what brings me like genuine joy, is finding like practical things that help my everyday life just be a bit more whimsical in my way. You know?
I think that's got to be the focus for more people, because there's so much comparison with the clients, which is getting in the way of that, like identifying their individual happiness as well. They were like, oh, well, my best friend who I've been friends with for 30 years, so-and-so, she's done this and this and this and this, and I've kind of done those same things, but like she's loving life and I hate life. Like, well, that's because she's a completely different person who doesn't live inside of your body. So that would be why maybe you're not happy doing the things that she does. You know, you got to do other stuff, and you got to just genuinely kind of no holes, unless you've got like some Albert Fish curiosities or some Jeffrey Dahmer curiosities. Those curiosities we don't pursue. Those curiosities and interests we bury deep inside. And we never, ever, ever do anything with them. But like other normal curiosities and interests.
Seek help for those ones. You go to the
seek help.
Intentional specialists for those.
Seek help. And if you're not going to do that, then just, again, bury them so deep that you forget they're there and they don't exist anymore. And you
go to
just
therapy,
never do
therapy, but that stuff, you bury it.
Yeah. Go talk about your mommy issues, but maybe if you want to wear somebody as a skin suit, maybe just bury that away forever. No, go get help. Obviously, I don't think anybody that wants to wear someone as a skin suit would be listening to me unless it's one of the Taylor Swift fans, again, who listens to all my podcast episodes.
Oh my God, can you imagine another version of Ed Gein getting a hold of Taylor Swift?
It's gonna be like trying to get that, Doctor Who. Have you ever watched Doctor Who? The lady that gets stretched as the skin between the panels. She's just like the face. It's not the face of Boo or whatever the other guy, but you know who I'm talking about. Lady Cassandra. Lady Cassandra, I think is her name. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
maybe that's what Taylor Swift's Cassandra song was about. Maybe that was about a facelift.
I didn't even know that was the name of one of her songs.
I only know because her followers say it in my comments over and over and over again. For some reason. That's I couldn't tell you what it sounds like, but she's got one called that because
it would probably sound like every other song she makes, right? She makes the same album every year.
Yeah. Literally 47 different versions of the same album every year and 13 Temu sweaters to go with it. Hey, you know what? Maybe that's her pleasure. You know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't be smiting her for her hedonistic, earth-destroying, right-leaning calamity. Maybe that's it. Maybe her pleasure is in hanging out with men who love concentration camps. And who am I to shit on that?
Well,
honestly,
she can go shit on herself because we've got way better people to talk about. I found this one guy. His name, he was like the original cat lady, but he was a guy. Probably gonna pronounce his last name wrong, but it's Horace Walpole. His
no idea.
cat Selma
sounds good to me.
Passed away. So like in the 1740s, this extremely like sophisticated and wealthy dude. He was a son of like a British prime minister.
Yeah.
He had a cat named Salima. And when she drowned in a goldfish bowl, which I think is so iconic for a cat, like
that's crazy.
What a way to die!
How does that happen?
I don't fucking know. Like, how deep is that fish bowl? I don't know.
Oh my God.
He didn't just have a funeral. He commissioned a friend, a famous poet named Thomas Gray, to write an epic mock tragic ode in her honor. It's called "Ode on a Death of a Favorite Cat, drowned in a tub of goldfishies." It's a full-blown like written poem about a cat's vanity and the tragic end.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for real. And like the whole idea around that was like his happiness was like finding this like slightly silly like tragedy and turning it into like a joke among all of his like intellectual friends and like
okay, that's I would probably do something like that
for his cat with an absurd way of like memorializing the cat, which I thought was really interesting. Because
I would probably do that. Yeah.
Like, here's me over here. Like, if my old orchard cat that I have, if she passes away, the speed at which I will find like a what is it called, a taxidermist?
Yeah,
like, immediately.
I thought about that too. I've thought about that
immediately.
I thought about that. I think I'm gonna have mine made into a diamond to wear as a necklace.
Nice. That would be so cool. I've never even heard of that.
They do it to people, but I don't know if they do it to pets, but I'm going to find out.
Well, I've seen ashes be used in like ornaments and things like that as well.
Yeah,
Well, that was pretty cool.
I want it on my body. I've even thought about getting it tattooed because you can get ashes put in the tattoo ink.
You can do that. That's a whole thing now. I thought that was really interesting.
I've thought about that. I thought about getting a paw print, like with that when that time comes. Thankfully, I'm not there. But if that time were to come, I've thought about like a tattoo with ashes in it and a diamond necklace.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Very happy topic, huh? Very happy. Happy. Dead pets. Happy. No, but that's cool though. That is a good way to deal with grief. The way that he did, like having the poem written. I like that. I would do that.
Well, okay, so I've got this other guy, right? He's called the Amphibious Man of Hyde Park. He was like the Water King. His name is John Colossus. He's 1860s, right? He's this Victorian dude who ended up like believing that human beings were meant to be amphibious, right? So like that whole like shape of water style.
He's not totally wrong completely.
To prove his point, he claimed it improved his health, and he would spend hours and hours a day submerged in, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Serpentine Lake in London's Hyde Park.
Probably Serpentine.
And he wasn't swimming. He would just legit stand there, like neck deep in the water, like reading a newspaper, like above the water without getting it wet.
I've been to Hyde Park. I would not get in that. I would not get in that water. I would not. Ooh, it's got so much swan shit and duck shit in it. It smells so bad. It won't have been better back then.
Duck shit is so freaking lethal, though. Like, there's like a whole like sickness you can get from duck shit.
Is it really?
It's just. Yeah, no, for real. Like there's a whole thing. There's an area in like a lake where I used to swim when I was a kid, like, or like a river. And if you saw ducks swimming in the water, you had to get out because essentially if like they shat in the water, you could get sick from that. Yeah, it's real gross.
Oh, it smells bad. Yeah. The ponds, the lakes in Hyde Park smell bad.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
But like sticking with the water, right? Yeah. There's this poet, right? And he had a pet lobster. His name's Gerard de Nerval. He was like early 1800s as well.
They were getting weird in the 1800s. I love that.
Wait, they do. And it's the best kind of weird because this guy had a pet freaking lobster and he was like, no shit. It was his best friend. He kept it as a pet, right? And like he didn't keep it in a tank. He would take it for walks in the gardens in Paris and like on this beautiful like blue ribbon, right? Which I think is so cute because like it's little like red lobster with a blue ribbon around it.
That is super cute. I kind of want to paint that now.
Yeah, and like anytime he was like asked about it, he was, like, why should a lobster be any more ridiculous than a dog or a cat or a gazelle or a lion or any other animal that chooses to that he could choose to take for a walk, right? Yeah. He's like he liked lobsters because they're peaceful creatures and very serious. They know the secrets of the sea and they don't bark and they don't gnaw upon one's monadic privacy like dogs do, which I mean, like you would know your dog literally
there is no
lives
privacy
up your ass sometimes.
Yeah. My dog literally starts screaming if he's more than a foot away from me. So that's fun. That's very fun. No, I kind of get the appeal of that. I get the lobster appeal.
Yeah. No,
privacy,
just like
check. Love it.
Just a chill ass animal.
It is. Human happiness is weird. Human happiness is weird. We need more weirdos. We need everyone to just go weird.
Yeah. There's this one lady in my town. She like lives in steampunk clothing 24/7. Like I'm talking like the whole like floor length skirts that have like the really pretty lace on it. She has a lot of like brown outfits too, which I think is so interesting. And
I want to start dressing
like
a Victorian.
Hats and like sleeve gloves, like fingerless gloves and things like that. Just layers upon layers upon layers. And this is like the mid of summer. And
I was going to say, doesn't it get really hot and humid there?
Yeah. No, where I live is supposed to be a riverbed, so like it's tropical heat sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
It's
that's what
gross, and I'm like, how are you surviving?
That's nuts.
But hey, she's happy.
I was gonna say the English genes seem to survive in the heat and layers of wool for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what they've just done for forever.
You'd be surprised how cooling wool can be in heat. I know that some So there's like a lot of farmers use that too, like here, and essentially like wearing like wool with a kid because of the way that your sweat catches the breeze through it differently than
it's
other
sheep's
fabrics.
fur, isn't it? And the fur would have to do that on sheep. It would have to be able to like not overheat them, but keep them warm and like breathe and stuff. So that would make sense. And natural fibers, I guess, are more breathable, which would make sense. It just seems like wool just seems like the last thing I want to wear in heat. Is wool.
Oh yeah. 100%. No, yeah. This is why I like winter. I'm like, why? My pursuit of happiness is to have to warm myself up, not cool myself off. You can only ever take so many fucking layers off before you're naked, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
At least in the cold, I can huddle under a blanket. You can tell my ancestors are from Scotland.
Everybody's like bummed because it's now starting to get cold. And I've had several people say to me in the last 72 hours, I've had several different conversations with strangers and acquaintances with like, oh no, summer's gone. I'm like, yes, thank God. It was too hot. It was way too
I'm
hot.
so jealous. I'm like, can I come over there, please?
Yeah, one of them looked at me like I was crazy because he was like, oh, you came from like a hot part of America? And I went, yeah, it sucked. That's part of the reason why I moved here. The heat sucks. Humidity sucks. It's awful. It's a losing game. You can always put more layers on. You can't take more layers off when it's too hot.
This is why I've never visited Australia, because like I would literally have to live in like 5 or 6 layers during the summer here just to go over there in their winter to be able to handle it.
Nah.
No, thank you.
Not interested. Also, everything in that country wants to kill you. All the bugs and animals are poisonous.
Too many bugs. Too many. I mean, like I'd go for the frogs, but that's it.
Like the oceans will kill you. The beaches will kill you. The forests will kill you. Your things will come out of your toilet and kill you in Australia. It's crazy. It's crazy. Everything wants to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
I do love Australians, though. I do love Australians.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I have quite a few friends that are like living over there. There's like
the good ones are great.
Yeah.
Good ones are solid.
Yeah.
The good ones are
definitely.
It's kind of a little bit America light, though, is what I've found from my Australian friends.
Any white, predominantly white country that has been colonized or under British monarchy is just a batshit carbon copy of America, because essentially we all came out of the British monarchy at some point, right?
Very true. Yeah, we all came out of the same place.
Well, a lot of like inland towns here in New Zealand are very much like they're full of hills. Like it's always hills. Like there's like the place I come from, they call it the fruit bowl of the South, because you're like literally in the bottom of a hill.
Yeah, the giant fruit.
Yeah, the giant fruit. Yeah, but like there's giant stuff. I sent you the link. There's like in the pursuit of happiness for every town, there's giant shit out the front of most of the towns.
That has to make you happy when you see it. Just giant, giant fruit.
Yeah, like people literally visit the country so they can do the trip to see all of the giant things.
Oh, that's so cool. That is what we need. Humans are weird. We are
letting
weird
artists
monkeys
create spaces that create joy to create happiness. Because it's like, that goes back to that lady who did that exhibition, right? Like creating things that can help spark that joy that creates more joy around. Yeah.
I think that's like the most important. It's not the most important thing that's happening in the world right now, right? But I think it's absolutely critical, because it's going to be a long, unpleasant road that we are now on, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
And there has to be pockets of happiness. There's got to be pockets of joy, of, fulfillment and all of that stuff if we're going to basically have
if we
the fuel
expect to come
survive.
out this on the other side.
100%. Individually 100%. And on community levels as well. Just things need to exist just for the purpose of providing happiness, joy, pleasure, whatever that is.
I deliver sourdough bread to like most of my neighbors and eggs just to make people happy, because I think it's nice.
That's so sweet.
Eggs are expensive.
That's so sweet. That's so nice. I love that. I think that's great.
My favorite one that I found was the King of Tramps, and his name is James Hurst.
Love that name.
Essentially, I know. He's was a Yorkshire farmer who became like super eccentric in his later years. I'm going to say he probably got to the I don't give a fuck about people's thoughts stage of his life. Yeah. And he taught his pet pig how to do tricks and built a carriage pulled by like a bull from his farm, and declared himself the King of Tramps. And he would invite local vagrants to his farm for like huge feasts, presiding over them as their benevolent monarch.
That's so
he
cool.
once even wrote a letter to King George III offering him advice on how to run the country.
That's crazy.
But I think like he's like the real life version of like a Mad Hatter, right? Like essentially anyone who was weird and wonderful was allowed to like come and have these big like extravagant feasts on his farm where everyone would dress up and have a good time, and it didn't matter if you were rich or poor or like not doing great and whatever, like, or eccentric as well. Like you were invited to come have a meal with him and his pig and you know, like I just think that's so much fun.
That's so cool. Yeah, he created his own royal court. That as well is like the weirdos need to stick together. We need to be flocking as weirdos together in our own
and I think it's
communities.
that whole like that price of pushing past that whole like that moment of like like panic where like you have to like socialize with people and be in those situations that are new and different, because essentially like once you push past that moment, you've now connected in a way that is completely different and could be really, really good for your internal joy. You're creating systems of community with people that like could be really beneficial, not just to you, but you could be beneficial to them. And like that's a good symbiotic thing that needs to happen, because we need those pockets, like you say, of joy. Otherwise, no one's going to make it through.
We're not going to make it through if we don't have that. No, we're not going to make it through. Not at all. No, not at all. But it also like kind of reminds me of, I think that there's a real power in it, not just like in surviving, but I've said this for years. I think we should have started this years ago, but a way to essentially breed out the Nazis is to make them not cool. Like just make that is loser behavior. Don't try to argue with it. Don't try to like prove it wrong or any of that stuff.
There was a time in history where people tried to do that when like racism become like a not cool thing. But like because that education aspect wasn't widely given, like say how Finland is like, oh, let's give everyone free education. Because education has been siloed out, that's why there's still these like pockets of those absolutely fucking batshit Nazis that are like in these areas that they shouldn't be in, because essentially they haven't had that education throughout their family history because of the way that things get siloed out, right? We need to bring back social ostracizing. There needs to be social shame, social ostracizing. And you know what always happens as well is that the weirdos, right? The weirdos find each other and they make little weirdo groups. And they're all the people who have been like outcast and pressured and, you know, shit on and all that other kind of stuff. But then when they get in their little weirdo groups, those little weirdo groups then become the cool kids that like all the mainstream people want to be. And I think people need to, you want to be the cool kid, then be weird, be fucking weird, like be different, be happy, like, you know, like be happy. That's a big difference. The weird and eccentric thing that you want to do is essentially going to start a new trend that will help other people be like, oh, I can be joyful. I can do that weird, awkward thing that I've been wanting to do for ages, but like haven't had the confidence to do. People see you experiencing a new thing and doing that joy and go, oh, I can do the joy too. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
I think that's probably the point we should probably wrap on, is that part.
You can do the joy when you see the joy. You can imbue that same joy and that weird thing that you wanted to do last week that you didn't do. If it doesn't hurt anybody, go and do it.
I love that. Oh, yay. It did it much more poignantly than I would have, just screaming into the void.
I mean, we're always screaming into the void over here, but like
always. That's it. You know, happiness is what we make it. You know, at the end of the day, we design it for ourselves, but you really got to know yourself. You got to have self-awareness, and you got to, you know, step outside of the pressures and the expectations and the conditioning and all the other crap in the world.
Yeah. And if we don't make those steps, then no one else is going to make them. So like, you've just got to push past it, eh?
Got to be proactive. Well, thank you, Connie. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, thank you.
That's a wrap for our first episode.
Yeah.
I think that was good. I think that was solid. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk Bonnie Blue next week.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We're going to talk Bonnie Blue next week. So everybody be buckled up and buckled in. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm going to try to make it as funny as possible. We're going to have a serious talk because she's super crazy dangerous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I just wrote an essay about it, which is up now on the Patreon. You can go there if you want like early sneak peeks behind the scenes of the podcast episodes. You want to get them a few days early. But I also am writing essays over there on all this stuff that we talk about and sharing more pictures and images and all this stuff. But I've just written an essay on Bonnie Blue, and it's pretty horrifying because it really is like damage begets damage.
You got to make sure you get a picture of the king of San Francisco for real.
Yes. Yeah. If you go and join us on the Patreon as well, we'll have all the stuff up from that we talked about today. So I'll have some pictures up of the emperor of San Francisco, Norton, and all this good stuff, and the Greeks and good. There's already some of the stuff up there. So if you head over to patreon.com/NUSKA, you can support us, help us grow this podcast. So you can get more of these episodes. It's going to be just like this. It's going to be us just chatting shit, having a good time, trying to enlighten ourselves, maybe a little bit, enlighten others, and have a good time. Positive dissociation, humanity. So thank you so much, Connie. I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with a new episode. Go to patreon.com/NUSKA. We'll see you guys later. Bye.